Hey everyone, and welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. As your guide through the CMA syllabus, I totally get it. The Technology and Analytics section can seem pretty intimidating at first glance. But don't worry, you've got this. Today, we're conquering data policies and procedures, which falls right under data governance. The IMA expects you to know exactly how data governance protects information integrity, ensures compliance, and reduces risk. So let's break it all down.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start with why governance matters, then tackle the difference between policies and procedures. After that, we'll look at the big three data pillars, compare data owners to data stewards, and finally, wrap things up with a handy exam day checklist.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Why Data Governance Matters. This is basically the framework of data.
So, whenever you see the word governance in your study materials, I want you to remember that it's simply the framework we use to protect our information integrity. To make this super concrete, think of data in a modern organization exactly like the water supply in a major city. The financial information driving our budgets, our forecasts, and our strategic decisions, that is literally the absolute lifeblood of the enterprise.
Think about it. If that city's water supply doesn't have a filter, well, people get sick. In our world, unclean data ruins financial models, which leads to terrible management decisions. If there are leaks in the pipes, your resources are just completely wasted. And what if anyone could just tap into the main water line without permission? Yeah, you'd have an absolute security disaster on your hands. So governance is what provides the pipes, the filters, and the valves to make sure our data is kept clean, secure, available, and totally trustworthy. Moving right along to Section 2, Policies versus Procedures. This is an absolutely crucial distinction. Listen closely, because the IMA absolutely loves to test candidates on this fundamental difference. The crucial point here is understanding the scale and the purpose of each. A data policy? Well, that's a high-level statement of management's intent. It defines the what and the why, like all sensitive data must be encrypted. Simple, right? A data procedure, on the other hand, is the how, the when, and the who. It's the actual step-by-step instruction set. It's the IT staff's specific checklist to execute that encryption during, say, a routine database backup.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concept for us. Think of a policy as the traffic law that says, do not exceed 50 miles per hour, and the procedure as exactly how the mechanic calibrates the engine governor to actually enforce that specific speed limit. If you can lock that analogy in your mind for exam day, I promise you will never get these two confused.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, the big three data pillars. These are your key focus areas.
Now for Section F of the exam, this right here is prime testing territory. Our first pillar is data quality. Remember our water analogy? Unclean data ruins financial models. So ask yourself, are your inventory counts updated daily? That's timeliness. Are there missing fields in your vendor records? Well, that addresses completeness. Is product revenue categorized the exact same way globally across the whole company? That's consistency. And of course, accuracy. Are the numbers actually correct?
Our second pillar focuses on data security and access controls, and the fundamental rule you need to know here is the principle of least privilege. This basically means giving employees access only to the specific data they absolutely need to perform their exact job duties. We usually implement this through role-based access control. So, as an example, your accounts receivable specialist. They absolutely need to see customer invoices to do their jobs, but they have absolutely no business looking at confidential executive payroll records, right?
Let's move to our third pillar and see how this builds. This is the data lifecycle. You see, data isn't just kept forever. It actually goes on a journey. Governance policies define this entire lifecycle, starting from the exact moment data is created to active storage, then eventually to cold storage archiving, all the way down to its final secure destruction.
And you know, the end of that life cycle requires a really critical balance. If you retain records for way too long, you're exposing the firm to unnecessary legal liabilities and honestly, just bloated storage costs. But if you delete records too early, you risk some massive compliance violations with tax authorities or big regulatory frameworks like Sarbanes-Oxley or GDPR. Governance dictates exactly when that destruction timing needs to happen.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, Data Owners versus Data Stewards. Who is actually accountable?
This is a classic accountability topic on the CMA exam, and my goal today is to make it literally impossible for you to confuse these two roles. Now, what's really interesting about this is the contrast in altitude. Data owners are your senior business managers. Think like the VP of sales. They set the high-level policy and hold the ultimate accountability. Data stewards, meanwhile, are your hands-on operational experts. They're the ones in the trenches doing the daily data hygiene and making sure those procedures are actually being followed.
Okay, I've got a massive inside scoop for you here. Lean in and pay close attention to this exam tip. In scenario-based questions, they are absolutely going to try to trick you. If a question asks who holds ultimate operational accountability for something like, say, sales data quality, you must choose the data owner, like the sales manager or the business unit. Whatever you do not choose the IT department. Sure, IT owns the systems and the physical servers, but the business unit owns the actual data.
And finally, we've made it to Section 5, your exam day checklist. Let's do a quick review.
So let's recap the core concepts we've covered today. If you can just master this summary, you're going to be incredibly safe on those tricky scenario-based MCQs. Just remember, policies set the rules, while procedures set the specific steps. Governance is what protects data quality, enforces that principle of least privilege, and manages the whole data lifecycle. And crucially, never forget this one, business managers own the data, while IT simply manages the infrastructure.
I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to cement today's lesson. Your IT department runs the systems, but who really owns your data? Keep that accountability question bouncing around your head as you study. Mastering these governance principles is a massive step forward in your certification journey. You're doing great, so keep practicing those multiple choice questions, stay focused, and for sure, you are going to do phenomenally well on exam day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer, and keep up the fantastic work.